Everyone, and welcome to another YouTube video. It's Bernita here. I am so excited for all our returning viewers, subscribers. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you look around the channel. You may see other videos that you like. Tell a friend, share a video, subscribe, like, comment. I want to hear from you all. I want to hear what you want to talk about, what you want to learn about, what I need to talk about and share with you, and we can have a whole conversation in the comment section. But thank you so much for tuning in for another video. So I was sitting here and I was like, what am I gonna do for my next video? I knew that I wanted to do like a sit down video and talk to you guys about a topic, but I didn't know exactly what that topic was going to be about. And I was like thinking about myself as, you know, an individual and the things about me that make me interesting or unique or like my own experiences. And it's January 2024. So I was like, okay, it's a new year. What can I talk about that is near and dear to my heart and that has to do with like new beginnings or fresh starts or the new year? And I was like thinking, and then I was like, HBCUs. It is where I went to school. It's where I've always wanted to go to school. It's where I worked and served in my career for, I don't know, like close to 10 years. It's near and dear to my heart. I have worked at universities in South Carolina and North Carolina, and I absolutely love all things higher education, and I love HBCUs. And so I actually have on this shirt today. This is not where I graduated from. None of my degrees say SC State University. I'm looking over here to make sure you guys can see it, but none of my universities are, or my degrees are from SC State University. However, I have worked at South Carolina State University twice. I worked there. South Carolina State University was my very first big girl job post-graduation. It was my very first career job. It's the place that gave me a chance. And after working at South Carolina State, I went back over next door. If you're familiar with South Carolina State and Claflin University, they are located in Orangeburg, South Carolina, and I graduated from Claflin University. So let me back up. So I have an extensive background with historically Black colleges and universities. So my mom is a graduate of Claflin University. My sister is a graduate of Claflin University, and I am a graduate of Claflin University. I have a cousin who's also like my neighbor and my god sister. She graduated from Claflin. I know so many women in my small community that have graduated from Claflin, South Carolina State, Benedict College, Allen University, Johnson C. Smith, a number of universities in our small town. A lot of the women that I looked up to growing up and that were in our family and friend circle were HBCU graduates. So growing up, I grew up in a very small town in South Carolina, and I was exposed to like my teachers. 98% were African American. My high school was like 1,000% African American, and like my town is like super, you know, African American centered. So I grew up in a very strong community-based HBCU, like just being around my people type of community. And for me, like the pluses and the positives was that I was inspired everywhere I went, whether we were at church, in the grocery store, at school. Like I was gonna run into my teachers, into the administrators, into people that were working in business and industry in our area, and that was like inspirational to me. Not only that, having a mom and a dad in the household who were business owners and leaders in the community and like very active in the church and, you know, well known in the area, and just having a strong sense of self and education and community, like that is the foundation on which I grew up. It's on the foundation on which my whole career has been built, and just like the principles and values that lead my life and that I hope and pray to one day leave, you know, and lead a life for my family, for my future children, my future husband, my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and all those things. So I have a strong background with HBCUs and just like the connectivity of the Black experience growing up. And so I was very inspired. Like I was either going to be a teacher because my mom was in education, or I was going to be a nurse because I was like obsessed with being a nurse. In like the 4th grade, I wanted to be a nurse, and at that time, like, I didn't know about nursing programs at HBCUs, so I knew that I wanted to go to this other school in South Carolina, and I knew that I wanted to be an AKA. My mom's an AKA, so I wanted to pledge and like have this whole life. So I kind of had it all planned out as a little girl, like in the 3rd and 4th grade, and like my whole trajectory in my brain of just like being around these women and just being inspired from a distance. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do to live the life that I want to live and get to where I want to get. But fast forward, some point in high school, I learned about public relations and then became obsessed with leading a career in public relations. And then I knew that I wanted to go to Claflin University. For that little millisecond that I was like, maybe I should go to another school. It was like, no, my sister was at Claflin, my mom had gone there, my cousins had gone there. I heard so many stories from them about just Orangeburg and college life and being out on the yard and the Kappa Castle parties and just Greek life on campus, student life, and like the buildings and just the history that is Claflin University, the history that is Orangeburg, South Carolina. You have Claflin University, South Carolina State University, Voorhees, I think they're university or college now, they're down the street, Denmark Tech. Then about 45 minutes down the street, you have Benedict College, Allen University. So you have all these HBCUs closely together in South Carolina. And so I knew that I needed to be at Claflin. So anyway, fast forward, I go to Claflin, had all these plans, you know, had my goals, and that's what I want to talk to you guys about today, is those returning students and those, maybe you're still in high school or what have you, like having your goals in mind. Because there's nothing wrong with having goals. I think it gives you direction and it helps you to create routines and habits that are going to allow you to accomplish what it is that you want to do. So number one, let me just kind of segment this out. Number one is to have a goal and a plan in place. What do you want your life to look like? If you're in high school, like, what do you want to major in? What schools are you looking at? What do you want your college life experience to be like? How far away from home do you want to be, or how close to home do you want to be? And so just kind of having an overall goal, I think, is super important as a high school student, you know, to kind of plan for your transition to HBCUs. So for me, I knew, okay, my mom was an AKA. I grew up watching her go to chapter meetings and doing community service and projects and functions with her chapter. So for me, like, I knew I wanted to be a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I was that little girl. I had Future AKA t-shirts. And today when I'm filming this, it is actually J15, so it's our Founders Day. So this is my AKA sweatshirt. So I'm actually planning for a Founders Day event later on today. And so I knew in high school, everybody knew Bernita wants to be an AKA. It was like, I made it known. Now granted, that's frowned upon, but in high school, like, nobody was holding it against me, and I knew, like, okay, once I get to college, I need to kind of keep this hush hush and on the low. But in high school, like, who's gonna tell and what's gonna happen? So I kind of like made it known, like, this was a goal of mine. So like, I would watch step show videos on YouTube. This was when YouTube was like fresh, and there was just a bunch of videos and people just uploading like raw footage and content. So I would watch a ton of just college videos, step show videos, just to kind of get me in the mindset. Like, I think a part of goal setting is being able to visualize yourself there. So me watching these YouTube videos like this one and others helped me to be able to visualize myself. I was over high school. I was over being in a small town, and I wanted a new start and a fresh start. So I was like, visualizing, what does it sound like? What does it feel like? How do I feel? So I think it's important to, number one, figure out where you want to go, the direction, the school, the program, whatever. And number two, visualizing, closing your eyes, looking at videos. What does it feel like? What does it sound like? How do I feel? Like, what does that look like for me? Being able to visualize yourself wherever it is that you want to be. And then number three it is figuring out how close or how far away from home you want to be. So my university of choice was like 2 hours away from home. So I knew if I get homesick and I want to go home for the weekend, that's 2 hours. That's nothing. Or if something happened to me and my parents needed to get to me quicker, 2 hours, I can do it. Or I don't want to be that close from home, and so I need to be a little away but not too far away. And I knew that I needed to stay in state because my parents were like, we're not paying for out-of-state tuition. And so the 2 hours was good enough for me, and it was my university of choice. So that's kind of like your overview of high school and your planning there. Now let's transition. So now this section is about, okay, now you're a college student and you're back probably because it's January. So you're back for maybe second semester or maybe your first semester freshman. So you're just getting there. This is your first time being away from home and you're at college. Now what? What do you do? So for those students that are currently students, especially freshmen, but even still, because I feel like even as upperclassmen, these tips and advice work for you too. You have to figure out, like, you're on campus, now what? How do you maximize and make the most out of the experience where you are? So for me, like I said, went to Claflin in Orangeburg. Orangeburg is a relatively small area, and people would complain and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I hate it here. There's nothing to do here. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. And I was like, I'm very much an optimist and very much a glass half empty, half full, however the people say it. So I was like, no, we're going to make the best of this. So, you know, we're in this sucky little town. That doesn't matter. We're close to Columbia. We're close to Charleston. We can make this work. We can make our own fun. And so people would look at me like I was crazy because I was like, we have to make our own fun. We have to make the best of this. Like, we're in this together. But it's really like figuring out, okay, how do I make the best of my decision? Like, I decided to go here. And for some people, they're like, I didn't decide to go here. My parents told me I was going here. Oh, well, you're here now. So how do you make the best and how do you make the most out of where you are and be excited and proud of where you attend? And so for me, that was on the career side and professionally. Okay, I'm not coming to college. I'm coming to have a good time, not for a long time, but I'm coming for a purpose. And so how do I maximize where I am and where I want to be? So my major was public relations. So I at some point was like, I want to move to Washington DC. I'm gonna be this PR professional that dresses up for work every day, makes a ton of money, can send money back home and help her family and save the world and buy a house and be in a relationship and be married and have kids. Like, I was doing it all. I was saving everybody and saving myself. And now granted, we're still figuring out half of those things, and I've kind of restructured those plans and those goals, but I had a direction. So for me, and they kind of drilled into us, and it was actually genius. They made it a requirement as a freshman and a sophomore. You had to attend this assembly program and you had to have gotten an internship, at least apply. Some people just like went through and like mass applied to stuff just to check it off and say they applied. But at some point I went to somebody's session and became obsessed with getting internships because that was the way that I was going to make it and make something out of myself, because I did not come to college to waste my money, to waste my parents' money, and to waste the money of the scholarships that I had. So I was like, okay, we got to get a job. We got to get out of here. And the quicker the better. And so for me, I started being friends with everybody in career services. I lived over there. When I wasn't in class or hanging out with my friends, I was in career services. How can you guys help me? How can you help me get a job? It's your job to help me get a job or an internship. I made them work. And then I found programs that didn't even apply to me, and I still applied. I at one point was an intern for like retail in the grocery business. At the time, there was a grocery store chain called Bilo. I did a summer internship at Bilo in their management trainee program to be a manager of a grocery store. Now granted, that sounds like nothing, but the starting salary for that was $60,000. And at that time, to be a college graduate making $60,000 in South Carolina, I was rich. Okay, I was like, okay, this is perfect. So I did the program. It taught me so much. It wasn't public relations, but it taught me a lot. Taught me customer service, and it made me work. Like, I worked at a 24-hour store as like a manager. So like the person that you see at the customer service desk and that's running around, like I was in training to be that person. But anyway, long story short, career services was my friend. So that's a tip. Make the most of where you are to help you get to where you want to be career-wise. Another thing, get involved on campus. Too often students are sitting in their rooms and they're like, I'm bored, I don't have anything to do, this is boring, I hate it. Get involved. Why are you just sitting in your room? That's boring. College is the opportunity for you to learn more skills and hobbies, discover who you are, discover those parts of yourself that you didn't even know that you liked. Be different than who you were when you were at home. Nobody knows you unless you went to school with people from back at home. Nobody knows you from your old hometown. So use this opportunity to like reinvent yourself. So join clubs and organizations, whether it's Greek or not. Everybody's not going to be Greek. Everybody doesn't see the benefits of being in a Greek organization, so that's fine. So you don't have to do that. But join things that are related to your major or interests and hobbies that you have, or if you're a part of another group, maybe it's a religious organization, or maybe, you know, if you are like from someplace else, I don't know, the African Student Society or the Jamaican Student Society or whatever, or if you're a female, there's a lot of times women's alliance groups or SGA or NAACP. Find those opportunities to be around like-minded people. Find your tribe within your university. So you have like the bigger university, obviously you guys have something in common. You like the school where you are, you're at the same place. Now within that bigger group, like let's narrow it down, and so figure out like who are your people, who are the people in your dorm. Dorm rooms have like their own thing. Like I lived in this dorm called Asbury. Asbury girls were like the best, the girls on campus. So there was an Asbury ism to my campus life. There were girls that I just ran into in the dorm, and like we had that connection of like we lived in Asbury. Asbury was a freshman dorm, and like we had a good time. So it was like I'm an Asbury girl. Then within that, thinking about the larger campus, I was from South Carolina, specifically a small town in South Carolina. So I found all my people from a small town or close to it. So that was another group of people. I also went to college with people that I went to high school with. So we had our group because like, hey, we've been going to school together since kindergarten. And one girl, she and I have been going to school together since like daycare. So girl, like I've literally known you my whole life. So we had our own little groups. And then like I knew I wanted to be an AKA. There was like some of us that were like, oh, we just want to be AKAs. So we kind of had our own little group of like, when is the interest letter going out, or when is, you know, this thing going, or what do we need to be doing to make sure that we are the best applicants. So there was that group. And then like within my major, I was a mass communications major, we had our own family. Like we were gonna be producers and PR people and journalists and radio personalities and news anchors and all these things and camera people and all this. We were our own little tribe, just making our own little television channel. We had our own projects going. So find your group. And then I am a Christian girl, I'm a church girl. So like, hey, where the church people at? We need to pray. I need some encouragement, uplift. I wasn't a gospel choir person. Like I can't sing, but like I knew my people were like, if I need, let's talk about church, or let's do some church jokes or some scripture or something. Like I knew my tribes of people. And so finding who your people are within the larger university would be another tip. And then I would say befriend the people that work on campus. So speeding past like my college experience, when I worked at universities up until what, a year or 2 years ago. So I worked at Claflin University, South Carolina State, Claflin University, North Carolina Central University, then back to South Carolina State University. And then I also was a professor at Claflin. So I have worked at Claflin twice, and I have worked at South Carolina State twice. In North Carolina Central, I worked in the School of Law, and I worked in the North Carolina Central University, like the university's central communications office. So like, okay, we got a whole HBCU background and experience here. So figure out who those people are on campus, like that work there, that you can relate to. Like, you don't need to be obsessed with these people or develop any kind of weird relationships with them, but you need people on campus that are like younger, like myself, or my sister works at a university as well. Like, she's worked at universities pretty much her entire career, except for one little break where she went to corporate America and hated it and was like, please get me back to somebody's university. But find those people on campus that are like younger, or maybe they're not younger, that you can relate to, that you have something of interest in, or you could just look up to them like as an inspiration. Like, stop by their offices. They're regular people just like you. They work there, but like, they have experience, they have advice, they have resources. So befriend the people that work at your university. Like, I am like close friends with this one girl, like that she was a student there, and I was like newly graduated, so we were kind of closer in age, but like, she was like always talking about my office. And now to this day, that girl, she calls me like her auntie, and like, she's my niece, but like, that is my girl. Like, anything, she can call me. Even to this day, I don't even live in South Carolina anymore, but hey, call me, I will get on a plane and come to you. So befriend the people that work there, or find people that you can like admire from a distance and be like, I want to be like her, or let me look up her career path and see how did she get to where she is. So like, figuring all that out, I think, is so important. So get to know the people that are on campus. If you have a university president that is like super cool, my president, super cool guy, he had an open door policy, and he was from like my home county. He was from Williamsburg County. So Dr. Tisdale, if you're familiar with Claflin University, Dr. Henry Nehemiah Tisdale to be exact, I knew his family, I knew him, I knew all of his background. I was like, this is my homeboy, okay? Like, he is way older than me, he is the president, but like, he is a person and I'm gonna get to know him. So like, he had an open door policy, I think on Thursdays from like 4 to 6 or something, I don't know, some kind of open door hours. I would just show up, and he would encourage us, like, just stop by my office, not when there's a problem, even if you want to come and talk. And there would be times I didn't even have a problem, and I was just like, I'm gonna go stop by his office and let me go talk to him about like, what were you like as a little boy? Like, I was just that girl. Like, I just was obsessed with like hearing people's story and like realizing that no matter how old or young you are from me, like, everybody has a story and everybody wants to be heard and seen. So like, go get to know the people that are like running the university, especially the president. Like, it's the president, like, they know the ins and outs of the university. Like, and when I had an issue like one time with like a parking lot situation and my tire, I went to him and was like, look, sir, like, y'all need to fix this. And so when I had a problem, I went to him. And then when I just wanted to chit chat and talk, I went to him and talked to him. And like, now that I'm thinking about it, like, I just loved my college experience. Now, working there was different because I was like, the rose tinted glasses were off and I saw it from a different lens, and I still loved working there, and I love Claflin. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. But like, get to know the people that work there, especially the people that run the university. They can help you. They might know a scholarship or some funds or something that can help you. Get to know them, or they might just be able to encourage you or make you laugh and help you have a better day. So that will be another tip. And then I'm gonna soon wrap this up because I don't want the video to go too long. And then I would also say, get to know your alumni network. So it was drilled into our brains as freshmen that we were going to be a part of the alumni association, and they called it pre-alumni. So before you graduated, you were in the pre-alumni. So it was like, you're still a student, but we were taught to give back to our university as students. So you need to be giving back to the university, and we were taught to be active once we graduated. Now, granted, I could do a way better job of connecting and like being in a formal alumni chapter now that I live here in the New York, New Jersey area. So I really need to be more intentional about like connecting with a chapter. But I like hang out with one of my friends that I went to college with, I'm with him like all the time. So I feel like that's like my alumni experience. But get to know the people that graduated before you. I'm friends with like half of the people that are older than me. Like I can call them or text them, or we talk a lot on social media. Like, get to know the people that are older than you, because like they're gonna teach you about the value of giving back, visiting your university after you've graduated, but also like they're able to kind of give you experience and guidance as well, like from an alumni perspective of like, this is what helped me, this is what didn't help me, this is my advice or whatever. So getting connected with your alumni association is also important. So I think that is all the tips that I want to share as far as a high school student perspective, a current student perspective, and like alumni post-graduation perspective. And then the other thing I would say is, once you become an alumni, then pour back into the university. So pour back into the next generation that were sitting in the seats that you were sitting in. And so the cycle continues of these universities that are healthy, and they produce healthy and happy and satisfied graduates. Because at the end of the day, you're a customer of the university. You paid for a service and you expect quality service. So make sure that you're getting that, and you can go about it in a professional way. You don't have to be rude and demanding what it is that you want from your university, but be a professional. It is a business exchange and opportunity. So use it as your opportunity to practice your business skills and customer service. And so making sure that you're a satisfied customer and that you get what you want out of your university experience, and then encourage the next generation to do the same thing and be that person for the next generation. So there's a lot happening in the policy and politics and HBCU world, in the diversity, equity, and inclusion world. There's a lot that is happening right now with people trying to erase DE&I, and they're saying that that's bad. And as someone now, I don't work for a university anymore, but I work for an organization that is all about the advancement of women of color in communications. It's called ColorCom. And so getting connected to professional development organizations that are related to your major, whether it's ColorCom or NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists, or whatever the program is, getting the Black, I know a lot of people were a part of NABA. It was like the National Association of Black Engineers, I think, and National Association of Black Accountants. There's NSBE was the Black Engineers one, but there's so many professional development organizations that are taking what you're learning at a HBCU or at your university as a whole, and then they're kind of reinforcing that once you get into your profession. And like, it's important because they are trying to erase DE&I. They're trying to erase diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's not okay. That is not okay. That is not okay. And so right now, it's so important that we stand up for what we believe in and the values in which we have. And like, if you value equality, HBCU, education, and just growing up in a more, Afrocentric or like Black experience, closer connect community, like the war on DE&I right now is real. And so we have to do all that we can to preserve our universities, to preserve the mental health of those that work at those universities, because there's a lot of discussion right now about the mental health of professionals at HBCUs, specifically in higher education. So preserving your mental health, whether you're a student or an employee, and just making sure that we really uphold the values in which our institutions were founded on, and not corrupting those systems that, our institutions were founded on, because there was blood, sweat, and tears put into building the universities that we love, and we love to wear our shirts and go to the football games and champion for those universities. There is a lot at stake, and we have to do our best to preserve the places that we call home. So I hope this video was helpful. hope that I didn't ramble too much, and that I hope I shared a bit of my experience to inspire you to either attend an HBCU, or if you're attending, to make the experience your own and to get the most out of where it is that you attend. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Stick around, look around at my list of other videos, and hope that you find a video that you like and that you can resonate with. I'll see y'all later. Bye.